All right, ready? I'm Meredith.
I'm Elise, and this is your 20s. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to This Is Your 20s, Season 2. We are super excited for this episode right now.
Yeah. What number is this?
This is 13.
13.
Number 13.
Lucky number 13.
Today we're going to talk about beauty standards. And we've been waiting to do this episode for quite some time now. And we have some experts in the room and a male perspective. So it's going to be really interesting. But in the room with us today, we have Rachael Hinshaw. Say hello.
Hello. What's up, everyone?
We have Tysen Chambers. Say hello.
Hey, what's up?
And they are both DePaul students with us. They have great perspective. We wanted a male perspective, so we brought Tysen along. He's a great guy.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But we're going to talk about makeup. We're going to talk about the industry, what they have set for women and beauty standards, and how that affects people in their 20s.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good one.
It's going to be hold on tight. It's going to be a wild ride.
It's going to be real. And we're going to talk to not just about so we had originally kind of wanted to just focus on makeup. Right, but then we changed that and shifted that to kind of everything because it's an entire industry in of itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just makeup, but body types and fashion and all that good stuff. So we're gonna try to. It's probably gonna be relatively comprehensive, but also we're just gonna kind of see where the conversation takes us. I'm really excited about this because I feel some type of way about some of these things, but I'm also interested to hear what you guys have to say, so it's going to be good.
So let's start off the conversation. We have some questions for Rachael and then for Tysen, but obviously anyone can answer. Our first kind of route we want to take it is with makeup because I know Rachael literally did my makeup last night. We went out and we were talking about it, and we planned on doing this episode before she did my makeup and stuff like that. And her makeup is always just so on point, the eyebrows,
the eyebrows,
everything.
So
yeah, Tysen knows.
So symmetrical. Her
everything
eyebrows.
is just so put together all the time. Obviously, she looks natural, like a natural beauty without makeup, but her makeup just looks great. So I was like, I don't know. Did I ask you if you wanted to do it, or did you come to me and say I want to do this?
Well, you had posted on your story that you wanted to know what people felt about makeup, and then I shared this perspective that's not super common.
That's right.
I was like, you should talk about this on your podcast.
I was like, good idea. Want to be on it? She's like, yeah. So what was your first memory with makeup?
I started doing my makeup probably in 6th grade. My sister, I have an older sister. She's 5 years older, so she was in high school around that time and doing her makeup. And, it's kind of hard for little sisters to not want to do every single thing that their older sister does. So
yep, I can attest
I was, I was putting on foundation, some really shitty eyeshadow. I tried doing eyeliner every day. I started filling my eyebrows in probably in 7th grade. I think that's when the trend started rising.
Yeah, so young.
Mm-hmm. But I was doing dark eyeliner. I kind of went through an emo phase, so
Didn't we all?
Yeah, so makeup was a big part of 6th grade to 8th grade, and that makeup was all just all around not great.
Not good.
Not
experimenting.
Not
oh my gosh.
Well done.
I literally used to cake it on because I thought I had to. I thought the more makeup, the more pretty I was. In middle school, I remember having those thoughts.
And I wanted to feel older too, the girls in elementary school that were wearing makeup, those were the cool girls, right? No.
Yeah.
Incorrect. But
yeah.
But yeah, I felt like that, and I don't know. I mean, I was always really, really insecure, especially in elementary school. I was a chubby little thing. I used to have a unibrow. It was just all around not great.
A chubby little
I
thing.
did not fit the beauty standards, let me tell you, in elementary school.
Yeah.
So I turned to makeup, and I have been addicted to it ever since, pretty much.
Do you look back on that with some sadness that you felt like you had to,
Yes,
or
absolutely.
is it kind of oh, well, it is what it is?
I think I definitely look back with sadness because I don't know, I felt like I had to do that to feel beautiful. And sometimes I wish that I hadn't ever started because I feel like once you start, it's so hard to stop because everyone is used to what you look like with makeup.
Right.
And so when you take it off, it's whoa, who are you? You look ugly as fuck.
That's how it is with doing your eyebrows and stuff like that.
Oh, I look like a naked mole rat without my eyebrows.
But tweezing your eyebrows, my mom was like, don't do it because then you're going to have to
you can't stop.
With nails and everything. Think of how much a woman has to do. They don't have to, but they still do it because they want to feel put together, and like
Yeah.
that is like having your eyebrows done, having your nails on. Like I hate when not having my nails on, and that's just like a me thing at this point. I don't really care what other people think at this point, but I've come that because of society telling me like you need to have your nails, it's become ingrained in my mind that I feel more confident when I have like nails and my makeup done. It's weird. It's crazy.
It is weird.
And it's like for special occasions, like you already like on a normal day-to-day basis, you're wearing a full face of makeup. So how can you even like elevate the look for the night out? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's even more.
Okay, Tyson, I have a question.
What's up?
When, like, at what age did you notice girls starting to like wear makeup, or did you notice at all?
When I noticed was probably around like 7th grade, 8th grade, like Rachel said.
Okay.
When I actually started to care was not until probably freshman, sophomore year of high school. I mean, I like looking back, I know there's a lot of girls in my middle school who were all about makeup, all about the latest fashion trends and this and that. And their makeup was not great. I mean, it looked good because I'm like, oh, you're a 7th grader with makeup on. Like, oh, you're the shit. But like looking back, it was not good. But
Right.
like once I got to high school and like got my first like legitimate girlfriend and everything, then that's when I started to like pick up on stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Was it like a curious thing to you? Were you like, oh, you're like two different people, like one with your makeup and one without?
no, I feel like at least from my perspective, she looked the same with and without makeup. It was still like, it was more, I was focused on people's like inner beauty at that time. I mean, I'm a freshman, you know, I'm not really looking for who looks the best, who's this, who's that. I'm just looking for friends, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, I noticed it, you look pretty, you know, and that's kind of how we bonded was like I would compliment her eyebrows or I'd compliment her eyeshadow, this and that. But it wasn't anything that was like, whoa, like you look totally different without like, I don't know.
Yeah. I get that.
I just think it's so funny, like, and I don't think I noticed. I mean, I didn't start wearing makeup until late in the game just because I guess I just wasn't that interested in it. I don't know. I mean, I would always like play dress up. I was a
that
big
surprises
dress-up
me with
girl.
your sister, like your older sister.
Yeah. Well, and my older sister, like, I have an older sister too. So yeah, everything that she did, I was like, oh, I should try doing that too. So I don't think it was until she started doing all of that that I was like, oh, now I'm interested. But she was always one of those people that like, she just didn't really care that much. So I think because she didn't care that much, I didn't really care that much.
Yeah.
But I had always had like a interest in it because like I was always the girly girl and I was always the one in my family where I have two girl cousins, and they would come over for like all holidays, and we would always dress up and we would put on like concerts and shows for our parents and like, you know, straighten each other's hair. And like, I was just so infatuated with the transformation that people could have, but I just wasn't really into it for myself. And part of it was because my mom was like, I would prefer you not be wearing makeup at this age.
Which is good.
She let me start wearing like mascara when I was probably, I don't know, in 7th grade maybe. And I sometimes wore it, but I also just didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, I had like the middle part. I had the braces. Like I was like that. Yeah, I was like that. No, but that's like a good middle part. And sometimes I wear
like,
a middle part now too. No, but I'm talking, I had the middle part
know what
with
you're
like,
saying.
you know what I'm talking
Yeah, I know
about.
what you're talking about.
The bad middle part.
bad one.
The one that like wasn't slick and like fashionable like it is now. But yeah, so I just didn't know what I was doing. So I
Yeah.
think because I just wasn't like, I wasn't that interested in
See-
it. But I will say at my school, when I was like in elementary school and middle school, it was different. There was more of an infatuation on body type than there was on makeup. I never really thought about makeup because so many of the guys were making hot lists and they were doing this. And like, I was really, I can remember in 4th grade making comments to myself in the bathroom, in the changing room at a Macy's trying on a bikini and saying, I don't have a bikini body anymore. And I said that to my mom.
in fourth
In 4th
grade.
grade.
Anymore.
grade.
Like you had it in 3rd grade.
That's crazy.
Isn't that fucked up?
Yeah.
No, it is fucked up.
And then I remember in
those
7th
hot lists.
Oh my
That's
God.
a trigger word.
We
Like
never
those
did
got
those.
me.
I don't.
yeah, Tyson's not the type to ever be around guys
we
to do
didn't-
that.
We didn't do that. I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
Those
Just the fact
really
that
break you down.
that guys
they
have
do.
but guys
Absolutely.
in 4th grade have the entitlement to make a hot list about the woman. Like, what are their parents teaching them?
No,
what
it's
is your
crazy.
The guys in 4th grade were not like cute. Like,
Right, like,
Bitch, you ain't hot either.
I'm saying they were scrawny, like 4th grade.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Like neon Nike.
Crazy. Yeah.
Prepubescent. Like,
Oh, those
Yeah.
neon Nikes were
The
so
neon
ugly.
neon
my
Nike
goodness.
shirt with like the neon Nike
Yes,
socks.
the
Oh
whole
yeah,
fit,
the
yes.
drawstring backpack.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Oh,
talking
yeah.
about?
The whole fit.
No, but I can
Actually,
remember
like those.
too in 7th grade, or no, it was in 6th grade. So it was in middle school. I literally have a memory of this guy. I was with my lunch tray checking out at the lunch, what the fucking
lunch,
cafeteria.
yeah.
About to go sit down with my friends, and he walks up to me, and he was like the coolest guy in 6th grade,
In that
which
grade.
oh, wow, good for you.
Go.
Peak.
He peaked in 6th grade. So he
Tyson
walks,
said that was me.
he walked up to me and he said, "Congrats, Meredith, you finally have an ass." And I was in 6th grade. 6th grade.
What?
6th grade. What the fuck?
How
In
did you
6th
feel at
grade-
the time, though?
At the time,
You were like,
over the moon.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
Over the
shit.
moon. Isn't that
Yeah,
sad?
that's
I felt so good
You
about
know
myself.
what? That's still to this day what like a lot of women, including me, struggle with is like approval from men. Like,
Yeah.
if a man like approves of my body, then I can love myself.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
In 6th
Literally,
grade, there
fuck
was some
that.
guys. he
But
came
that in
up to me.
6th grade, like,
Yeah.
It just shows you how early on we're ingrained with that idea. I
Exactly.
mean, seriously, like I was even.
and we still
in
deal
4th
with that
grade.
trauma years later.
Oh,
like,
it's crazy.
I'm 21.
You carry it
Yeah.
with you wherever you go. It's really exhausting, honestly.
Yeah. Wait, you saying 6th grade?
In 6th grade, there was a guy that came up to me and said, "Rachel, you're the fattest girl in the grade."
Oh my.
That has stuck
These
with
little boys need to go.
Yeah.
These little. Who are your father? Who are the fathers involved? I need to talk
You
to
might
them.
not
like-
be involved at all.
And you know, at the time, I was like 60 pounds.
right.
Oh my God.
You probably won't.
Baddest girl in the grade.
That is honestly.
But like that sticks with you. I
Yeah, of course
still
it
remember
does.
that.
Yeah.
Of
you
course
know?
it does.
That's atrocious behavior.
Yeah.
If my little boy ever says some shit like that to a girl, I would
Knock his teeth in.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you
livid.
do you have sisters or siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger brother and a younger sister.
Do you feel like
You're the
having,
oldest. Oh.
Yeah.
Do you feel
That
like
makes
being
sense.
in that older role and having a little sister has helped you see how that can affect women?
Oh, most definitely.
Okay.
So my sister, she just turned 16 in December. She's a sophomore in high school.
Oh.
Prime
but
age.
She's
Yeah,
been
that's tough.
doing her makeup and everything since she was in 5th grade. Like,
Wow.
and she used to be like smaller. She was like an athlete and everything, and she like quit sports. And she's gained weight since then, and like she still struggles with like weight gain and like her appearance and everything. I think she's settling into her body a bit more since she's been in high school. But I've seen her struggle with it, and like that's kind of where I would say I was really first introduced to makeup was through my sister because I'm 5 years older almost.
Yeah.
It
You see it from a different perspective at
and
home.
and so I was trying to find a way to like connect with her, and so we connected really on makeup and watching makeup tutorials. And now she comes to me and she's like, "Tyson, like I'm wearing this outfit, like what should my eye look be?" And she's like talking to me
that's
about
cute.
like wingtips, cut creases, like all this type
Oh.
of stuff. And I'm like, okay, like I think you should do this or this or this. But like that's where I got interested in makeup was like helping my sister through that stage.
Yeah.
so.
And did you feel like are you like, do you approve of that? Are you like, oh yeah, do what you want to do with makeup if it makes you feel good? Or are you kind of like,
Oh, here we
you
go,
don't need the
Rachel.
makeup?
Yeah, so for me, I support her in whatever's gonna make her happy. She's my little sister, so I'm not gonna deny her the opportunity to feel good about herself. But at the same time, like I have cautioned her, like make sure you're doing this like for the right reasons. And like first of all, you're 16. I know everybody in 16 in high school is like, oh, I need a boyfriend, I need this and that. You're 16. Like I'm seeing it from a whole nother perspective. Like you don't need to be going and pressing guys. You don't need to be worried about, oh, what is this boy like, or what is this boy like, and how can I fit that? Like you don't need to be worried about that. So I've cautioned her on that, but at the same time, like I do recognize that like because of the way society works today, makeup is a tool to feel confident about yourself. But I'm trying to get her to focus on finding the confidence rather than painting on the confidence.
Oh, I
So,
love that.
you know.
Finding the confidence
I'm writing
rather
that down.
painting on the confidence. Wow.
That's a good
Yeah, that's
quote.
awesome.
Well said.
Thank you.
Well said. So speaking of
She said, "Oh,
the
Rachel."
debate on makeup, I'm
Yeah.
really excited to get Rachel's take on this. But to me, I've noticed like a huge boom in the like industry of makeup, like artists going to the makeup industry. And it just kind of makes you question, and the social media obsession with like tutorials and stuff like that, especially
Yeah.
on TikTok and all these new
Yeah.
platforms. Like people are obsessed with makeup and palettes and lip glosses, and like it is a $1 billion industry. And you just have to ask yourself why, like what's the root of it, and why are these women like Selena Gomez, Kylie Jenner, who else, like Rihanna,
Lady Gaga
huge,
has
Lady
been doing
Gaga.
it too.
Why are they moving from music or the entertainment industry into makeup? And they honestly, I think it's genius because they know what they're doing marketing wise. They already have a fan base who's gonna support them in whatever they do.
Sure.
But it's like a question of, is it right for them to go to something that fans are going to buy just because they support you, because they feel the need to keep up with not only
whatever you're
them
doing.
but makeup and keep up with the new trends and stuff like that. Is that toxic? Like, what are your takes on that?
Well, to me, so my sister sent me this post on Instagram. I'm going to give the @ because I don't want to steal credit or anything.
This post is really good. She sent this to me, and it changed my perspective on a lot of things.
Oh, shit, I forgot.
You should read some of it too.
Yeah, I will. So it's salty.biitch, and she has
Salty bitch.
Salty
Salty
bitch, got it.
bitch. They have a story highlight for makeup, and it's basically this whole new perspective. Like, I feel like you always hear, so it kind of is a progression where a guy will say, oh, I like natural looking women. Like, I don't like girls who wear so much makeup. And then the pushback on that is like, oh, it's my choice to wear makeup. I feel empowered by makeup. Like, I'm not wearing makeup for guys. And I think that narrative it's okay. The wording around that narrative, I think, is problematic, especially the word empowering. How can it be empowering to, like, have to wear makeup in order to feel good about yourself? You know what I mean? Like, you have to buy something in order to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And empowerment is about, like, gaining actual, like, authority. Like, you're not gaining any rights over this,
Right.
You're like losing money for this, and you every single day you spend hours doing your makeup, doing your hair, finding the best outfit and putting on high heels and shit, and that is like the standard of beauty for women. And it's like you can't it's so hard, like, even being around everyone who's wearing makeup. They all have their looks elevated, you know what I mean? And so you can even choose to say, I don't want to wear makeup. But because you're being compared constantly to everyone who's already wearing makeup, who already has long lashes and thick eyebrows and, like, defined eyes, you're being compared to those people, and no one gives a shit if you're wearing makeup or not. Like, you're still going to be compared, like, looks-wise.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, are you wearing makeup for yourself? Like, do you feel better in makeup? Because I personally do. Or are you wearing it for, like, the approval of men or other people? Like, are you wearing it for the, I guess, like, satisfaction of being fitting in with the other woman surrounding you?
Well, and that's blurry. I feel like even some people don't even know why. Like, they might be saying, like, oh, I wear it because I love it. But then, you bring up the point of, like, well, subconsciously, do I love it because I actually just love it? Or do
Right.
I love it because I've been taught to love it?
Yeah.
Or I feel like I need to love it.
Yeah, I used to hate the, like, process of it. I used to be like, oh, it's such a drag, but I did it anyways. And I'm like questioning, like, why would I keep doing it? Now I love it. I love the process. Like, it's makeup to me is more like an art form. Like,
Yeah,
especially
exactly.
people who can, like, really go crazy
Yeah.
with it. Like my friend Taylor.
cool.
Taylor Hickey actually is a wonderful makeup artist, and, like, watching her grow with that, like, she loves the artistry. I do believe it is an art.
Yeah.
But she loves the artistry of it, and she loves, like, making new designs and stuff like that. So for her, it's fun. But it's kind of like when we were younger, when we were in that 6th grade, 7th grade mindset, like, I didn't like the process of it, but I kept doing it because
you
that's
become
what
dependent.
I became dependent on it.
Yeah.
And now, like, like, even you are like, oh, I don't have my eyebrows on. You know what I mean? Like, you feel like a different person without it. And I definitely feel that too. If I don't have my eyebrows on or, like, my face done, I feel like a different human almost.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
out
Like,
in
you don't even
public.
recognize yourself almost.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And I think, like, I'm thinking about this too. I think it's easy for me to say something like, oh, well, like, I can go without makeup and be fine, but I'm not trying to, like, sound conceited or toot my own horn or anything, but I also don't have, like I have good skin. Like I could
Yeah.
walk around barefaced and
Right.
feel okay because it's
Yeah.
just not something that I'm like constantly thinking about. But there are people out there that really, really struggle, obviously, with like really bad acne or skin disorders, and makeup for them feels like, I think but that's tricky too, because it's like, does it feel like a confidence booster because you're covering up what you have, or does
Yeah.
it you can't say unless you're in the mind of that person.
Right.
And so I don't know. It's like, this is really tough. Like I couldn't say either or. So that just makes me wonder if
Right.
yeah, and it's worrisome that there are people like Kylie Jenner, for example, and I know that you're not a fan of her. I'm not either. I just think it's ridiculous that there are people like that who are the highest of high in society, have every access to every single resource that they could ever want for beauty, and they are held as the standard of beauty, and then they're making makeup lines as if to say, oh, try all these products and you're going to look like me. And it's like, well, fuck that. No, you're not going to look like you, because she has lip injections and she has all the money in the world to snatch herself literally everywhere. I don't even know. Like, it's very frustrating.
Question though. So would you say that like mindset of like these like big industry artists going and like providing makeup to look like so and so, would you say that's the same for guys? Like, let's say LeBron releases this product or he's endorsing this workout or something like that, and guys are living up to, oh, the standard, I want to get muscles like LeBron, or, oh, I want to look like this athlete, that athlete. I think even though it is problematic, and I'm not saying it's right anyway, I think every industry does that, whether it has to do with makeup or it's
Definitely.
an athletic product or something as simple as a pair of shoes that
Yeah.
you saw
Oh, yeah.
someone wear,
They
So-
capitalize on their name. They already have that name.
Yeah.
Now they can do whatever they want. They
Yeah.
can sell whatever they want because people are going to buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that wrong to
That's a
to
good
have
question.
that to have that name and continue
it?
to build your brand? Is that wrong?
No, I don't think it's wrong.
I don't know.
I think it might be
Just depends on
wrong.
the message you're trying to
Exactly.
put across.
It might be wrong for women who don't understand what makeup can do for little girls.
Right.
And if they haven't questioned that, like in their mind, like what are they doing? If they're just doing it because they know they can, that could be problematic.
Right. Okay.
But people like, that's the difference here. Like people like Kylie Jenner, I genuinely don't think like really thinks twice about what a 7th grader feels about her makeup products. She just knows she's making money.
And what's so crazy is they're at the center of the media. So, like, they're getting exposure to everyone. Everyone
Yeah.
is seeing this.
Yeah.
No matter if you buy their products or not, everyone sees it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone knows Kylie Jenner's cosmetics company. Like, they know about it.
Yeah.
Even if they don't participate.
And Selena Gomez just dropped her thing, and she said, she's like, I've been working on this for months, and makeup is empowering, and that's kind of her marketing.
Right.
I think it's the way you market it too, because Kylie Jenner just like, I feel like she marketed it like, oh, I'm Kylie Jenner, here's my lip gloss. But Selena Gomez is like, you see her in the like her workspace with, I don't know if this is all fake. It could be, who knows. But she's working with people. She's in the business, like in the industry,
Right.
in these meetings. So she's like hopefully talking about like, what is this that we're doing as a bigger picture. I don't know though. I wasn't there.
But I think, and I think we can't forget too that like it's not just a female thing, like it is for
Yeah.
guys too. You know, there is a
100%.
standard of
I can't believe the shoe
excellence.
industry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is to be
Huge.
expected.
I love shoes.
Yeah.
I love shoes. I'm a kick.
Well,
fiend.
and here's what I'm thinking too. Like my brain's a little scrambled at the moment, but I feel like it's framing the messaging behind how you sell a product is important. So yes, Selena's messaging is that yes, it's empowering, but do you really think like a 7th grader is going to look at it that way?
Right.
Like are they going to buy into the messaging the same way she hopes the messaging is bought into? It doesn't mean that she's like coming from a malicious place whatsoever. It sounds like she actually might be trying to like really make some good and make a positive difference, but I think the question becomes like how old is it that someone can be mature enough to understand like the implications that come with that?
Yeah.
And I don't think a 6th or 7th grader is mature enough at all. It doesn't matter the messaging behind the makeup. Makeup is makeup. It's going to do
Yeah.
the same thing for you.
Exactly.
So I think I just think that people need to be careful who they're marketing to. But obviously, you can't put say like, oh, 7th graders can't buy my product. Like that's stupid.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
you
of course.
can't do anything like that. So it's just, I think it's just all about education and making sure that people who are in positions to understand the implications of it are educating younger people and realizing whether it be makeup or whether it be shoes or whether it be a lifestyle product, whatever. Like, no, this isn't it. Like, trust me, this isn't it.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Yeah,
It's hard.
I think part of that is also on the parents at that age. I mean, like 6 or 7, if you're getting Kylie Jenner's this and that,
Right.
the 7th grader probably is not going out and purchasing that themselves. It's probably
true.
a Christmas gift or a birthday gift or something. And so I think on that, it's on the parents they can still buy the product for them, but to make sure that they understand those implications, or to at least like monitor. Like if you know your child well, you can see intention behind things that they do. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
And so I feel like if you give a 7th grader or a 6th grader this product, then it's on you to make sure that they're using it in a way that's not detrimental to them.
Right.
So I don't know.
100%.
Definitely.
And it worries me too, because I mean, I see on Instagram some of these girls who are 12 and 13 years old looking like my age.
Yeah.
And when I was that age, I was like, wow, did not look like that at all.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
no kind of progression and growing up and just being a kid. Like, it's going from 0 to 100 really fast.
Yeah. And that's because of social media.
Oh, 100%.
100%
And I think
Instagram.
we were some of the last people to grow up in the generation where we played outside, and I wasn't given a phone until I absolutely needed a
Needed
phone.
one.
Like,
Right.
I wasn't, and when I was given a phone, I was given a fucking flip phone.
Yeah.
So that I could just call my
Yes.
mom.
I thought
Like,
that was the shit. I was
right.
like,
No,
Yeah.
the Motorola, man.
type. Literally.
Yeah, and so it all ties together. I think the way kids are raised, the way parenting is done. I mean, I'm not a parent, so I can't
Right.
sit
course.
and point fingers.
Of course.
But I am very thankful for the childhood I had, where I was encouraged to play outside, and I was encouraged to just be myself and not worry about what other people were thinking, not worry about what I was dressed
Yeah.
like or how I was acting. Like, just run around and be a kid. And
Yeah.
I felt like I slowly progressed into my womanhood in a more natural
Yeah.
way
Yeah.
than maybe
And
someone who's being fed that at such an early
Right.
age.
Yeah.
You know what is crazy to me is the amount of views that people get on TikTok. Because
Crazy.
every
Just because they're
single,
pretty. Like,
I know.
Well, it's not
Insane.
even that. Just like comedians and stuff like that. So like anyone can get famous and get millions of views on
Yeah.
TikTok just for being goofy and funny. And I love it. I think that's cool. That's a good platform. TikTok is awesome. But it just goes to show how many hours a day these kids are spending on their phones.
Yeah.
Like the biggest TikTokers have millions, like Kylie Jenner, Kardashian, like status on TikTok, and
Yeah.
no one's really talking about it, and it blows my mind. Like they are going to be superstars because of videos they made at home, because of it just goes to show how much time they're spending on their phone and how much influence the phone and these social media sites have on their entire well-being. And it's TikTok is great, but it's scary to also think
Very.
about
Yeah.
like how much these kids are comparing themselves at a young age.
Very.
I babysat a 5-year-old who had a phone and was watching TikTok all day and trying to imitate the dances. A 5-year-old who knew how to work a phone better than me.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And it's the comparison game too. You brought up that. I mean, just like sometimes I have to put my phone away and be like, Jesus Christ, I can't look at this shit anymore, because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't look like that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what the fuck is wrong with me? I need to do this, that, and the other. And then it used to be pretty bad. I think I've definitely gotten a hold on it now that I'm older and realize that like social media is just such a highlight reel. And I think we all know that. But like,
I like that
it is-
highlight reel.
It is
That's so
absolutely
true.
toxic. I mean, it can be really toxic if you are not educated
If you're-
enough.
right, if you're
or
not ready.
Not even educated, mature enough to understand at that brain development to understand that this is not the real world.
Right. Exactly.
And people, your brain, it's proven it's not fully developed until you're 25 years old. So kids, I just can't even imagine how hard it's going to be for some of the younger girls growing up right now. It makes me genuinely sad.
to rewire their
yeah.
brain to like
It's just
fully loving
yeah,
themselves. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what this podcast is for. I hope 15-year-old will listen to this in 5 years and be like, "Damn, they're right." But we have a couple more questions. Let's talk more about beauty standards with body sizes, and I think that's a really interesting topic that we could go multiple different places. I feel like in college, you see a lot of different body types all in one area.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like high school is also the same way, but I think the more you grow up, the more you like see and compare yourself to all these different body types. But also from my story, the more I've appreciated what my body can do for what it does and not for how it could look. You know, like I've, especially like with going to the gym and like my routine with that, I've started to train Rachel a little bit. But I've really grown to like question why I'm working out in the first place. It started, I wanted to look better for other people. I wanted to be like, yes, I wanted to feel good and stuff like that, but my main priority was like, I want other people to think I look good.
Right.
And that is part of it still. I'm not going to lie. I want to look good. Yeah, everyone wants to look good.
Yeah.
But now it's for my mental health and my health. I want to feel good. I want to look good for myself. And that game changer really changed my life. So it
Really changed the game.
really changed the game. Changed the game, that game changer. But I wanted to like ask you two about like, what are your views on like, what's the perfect body type considered in society right now?
I feel like it's really
And how is that problematic?
over the years it's really changed. For women, you know, the figure, like the full figured women, like Marilyn Monroe, that used to be the beauty standard. The like curves and big boobs, big butt. That was like tiny waist. That was what it was. And then it started to shift as like the modeling industry like became more
Took
like
off.
prevalent. Yeah, and it was the smaller the better. The longer and smaller. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
They used
It's
to
like they're
call
taking
it-
up less space.
They used to call it heroin chic because the girls were so skinny and so skeletal that they looked like they were drug addicts.
Yeah.
Heroin
Anyway.
chic?
Continue, but I
I've never heard that, but that's
Yeah.
terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then as for guys, I watched this movie and for my women's studies class, and it's kind of interesting. At the same time that Marilyn Monroe was present as like in the media, for men, like the action figures, they were like standard size men, like nothing crazy, just average size. But then as the years go, you can see action figures get buffer and buffer and buffer.
Wow.
Like G.I. Joe, all the Star Wars action figures, all of that, they just get gigantic biceps, and that is the beauty standard for men now, to be like fit as fuck.
Yeah.
And for women, it's just they got smaller and smaller. It's like
Yeah.
they're taking up less metaphorical space. You know what I mean?
But now I think it's different. For women, now I think it's like back to kind of like the Marilyn Monroe, and I think esque era. But I think a lot of that is because a lot of women already have that natural curve.
Yeah.
And I honestly think we just bash social media, but social media has also done a really good job at spreading body positivity.
True.
In the past couple, like, and the past year, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's really changed. And I think like a curvy body type was, I don't know when it began to be in again, because skinny was like the 2000s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
But I don't know the time frame, I guess. But I think women have come into, especially women in their 20s, late 20s, maybe
Yeah.
early 30s, have really like began to like accept
Yeah.
women who are curvier and further bodies. And like
Yeah.
kind of now I think skinny girls might have a problem like with comparing themselves to someone with a girl with
Most
a butt,
definitely.
or you know what I mean?
Most
Yeah.
And it's just this kind of funny to kind of watch like all of this happen. It's like ridiculous.
Well, it is ridiculous, and it's so fickle because you see how quickly this shifts.
Yeah.
It's decade to decade,
Yep.
and sometimes even less than that. So we go from the 80s where it was fitness was good. It was like people were getting to the aerobic chic. 90s was heroin chic. 2000s was also skinny. Now it's kind of like the slim, thick
Slim,
look.
thick, yeah.
And it's like, it's always going to change.
It's always.
We're never going to be able to be
We're never,
good
you
enough.
can't catch up.
Yeah.
Right. You
Yeah.
can't catch up.
And just when you think you've caught up, it's going to change
changes
again.
back.
So what are you going to do about that? Are you just going to mope around and, let that get to you? Or are you just going to embrace who you are for what you are?
Right.
In any
Find
decade.
a balanced, healthy lifestyle that works for you and just go with that, because and beauty fades. Eventually we're going to be, older, and that's not
saggy.
going, I'm going to be old. My tits are going to be on the ground. Like, it's not going to matter anymore.
Yeah.
So let's start valuing women and men, of course,
Right,
for
thank you.
things for things that are more than just their physical appearance. But of
Yeah.
course, that's very hard to dismantle in our society where it's literally everything, and it is
Yeah.
the biggest moneymaker.
Yeah.
It's $1 billion industry.
Yeah, what's interesting with like beauty standards is like what society is like what you see on social media. Like girls are, I feel like there is definitely like an increase in like how many women feel accepted for having curvy body types, but like that's like women on women, you know what I mean? But like, how do the guys feel about it? I feel like guys are still into the scrawny, skinny girl, you know, like. I mean, I think it depends. Like, some guys are into the slim thick, some guys are into the really skinny still,
Right,
you know what I mean?
For sure.
So,
What do you think?
Well, first, I think guys have painted this picture that's like, by my interpretation, pretty unmatchable, where they want the slim thick, but it's slim thick to the point where, wow, her butt is out of this world, and wow, she's got like giant boobs, and her waist is a size 2. You know? And it's like
She's 2 inches around.
It doesn't.
She's a
You know what I'm
toothpick.
saying? Like it doesn't fit. You know.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, for guys, beauty standards or body standards, however you want to say it. So I'm an athlete. I play football. I play football, and I mean, for me, I'm still not comfortable with my body. I work out, 4 times a week at least, as mandatory for my sport, and that's gaining strength. But there's always things, calisthenics and toning and all these different things that I'm doing to get my body to look the way people think it's supposed to as a football player. And like it's not seen that you can pack so much strength and power and speed and agility in a body that's not 6'5" and muscular. You know what I mean? People don't see that. They see a football player and they expect you to be 6'3" and some super big built guy, and it's like you don't always have to look like that. But even me, I still struggle with that as much as I work out. Like literally, it's mandatory for me to work out pretty much, and I mean I still struggle with that. So I don't know. It's definitely difficult for guys, especially. I'm gonna be honest, with this new age of TikTok. Like a lot of my female friends watch these TikToks of these, oh, this guy's so cute, and you look and oh, his abs are out and he's got this and that, and it's like, well, damn, like I don't look like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's not to say that I'm like not on that path given my sport, but I mean, even these 16, 17-year-old guys look like they've been working out their whole life, and you kind of wonder like how but then you also have to take into account genetics and like finding what's what's best for you. Some of these guys were literally born with a body type that just makes that kind of inevitable. You know what I mean? I mean, with metabolisms and different so it's kind of something that you have to work out for yourself, at least from a guy's perspective. I think from a girl's perspective too. You have to work out yourself and see like, what is my body type, and how do I change it, but how do I like accent the good parts of my body and like feel comfortable in that,
How do I take my body type to the potential that
exactly
it can be?
Like literally living your best potential in your own body. You're not trying to change it to fit someone else's, but just feeling comfortable and being the best you that you can be is really like all you can do, and that's
just think it's interesting because I think my tendency as a woman, and obviously we're outnumbering you today, it's 3-1, but it's got to be hard for men too, and I think sometimes we forget that like it's not just and I would say I think it's more so for women than it is for men, but it's still there for everyone, and it doesn't matter who you are. It's the industry in itself that's we're all the victims to it in one way or another. So I think it's important not to forget that everyone's struggling with it, just in different ways.
100%.
Yeah, that is a really good thing to hear from a men's perspective. I don't think males talk about this as much as women would, I guess. And that's important. That's the whole like, if DePaul taught me one thing, it's fragile masculinity. And that is such an important thing that a lot of people who have grown up their whole lives have never heard until they go to college maybe. Like I had no idea fragile masculinity even existed. And at DePaul we talk, like it's a liberal arts college, so we talk about, like these types of terms. Right. But that one really opened my eyes because I have 7 brothers. Yeah. And it kind of made sense. I was like, it makes sense that guys don't talk about this because they have this like standard of, you know, they have this standard of to being a man and what that means. And what that means is they don't talk about real things.
Not
They don't,
vulnerable.
they can't be vulnerable.
They can't cry.
How toxic is that? Like, that is not, that's not a good, so the fact that
Extremely.
you even came on this podcast, first of all, thank you.
Oh, of course.
And
Snaps for Tyson.
yeah,
Yes.
we need more men like Tyson in this world who, you know, like can put that fragile masculinity to the side, like, and talk about stuff that actually needs to be talked about, you
Yeah.
know?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's got to be hard too. And I forget that boys are raised a certain way and girls are raised a certain way. And it's easy to, I think it's easy to like us versus them in this situation. And as a woman be like, guys just don't get it because they just don't have emotions and they just don't do this.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, they're human. So everyone has the same emotions. They're just taught to handle them a different way.
Right.
And then that polarizes us even further. We're not willing to have a conversation about it. I mean, just like anything else in our society. And it's hard. Like, I mean, I'm in a relationship and like sometimes I'm like, am I crazy? Like I can't be this like outwardly emotional, and my boyfriend's just not super vulnerable. Like
Yeah.
he just doesn't, it takes him a while to get there.
Yeah.
And it's not like I haven't seen that side of him, but he's just different than me.
Yeah.
And there's no, I don't know. Is it how the person's raised? Is it nature, a little bit of nature and a little bit of nurture? I mean, I don't know. Like, were you raised to like be like tough or were you encouraged?
It was a bit of both. I think from a physicality standpoint, I was definitely raised to be tough. I was raised to, you know, be macho guy. I mean, like I grew up, I played basketball like pretty much my whole life. I picked up football in high school. I played rugby for a minute. I tried out lacrosse, soccer, like all these different sports. And so I think from like a physical standpoint, like definitely I was raised to be tough. I was raised to, you know, if you have pain, say ow and move on. You know, you don't
buck
cry
up,
over
kid.
it. Exactly.
Wow.
But I think from an emotional standpoint, I think my dad always emphasized kind of sharing what you feel, whether you think it's stupid, whether you think it's wrong. Don't be afraid to say how you feel about something. Of course, keep your emotions in check. Never let them like get out of hand, but don't ever be afraid to say what you think, say how you feel. If something hurts you, voice that. You know, and I still struggle with that, to be honest. I think I'm very good at helping other people to open up with those emotions and like being there for people and being like kind of that outlet for a lot of different people, even at like on the Paul's campus.
You are.
But myself, I still struggle with that. And when I'm going through something, I'm kind of like, I don't want to say anything. I don't want to speak on it, you know. But I'd say for the most part, I was raised to kind of let those emotions be free.
Yeah,
So.
that's good.
That's such a good thing that your dad would tell you that, because in a lot of cases it comes from their dad telling them, you know, toughen up, like suck it up, kid. Like, I don't want to hear you cry. I don't want to hear your emotions.
Yeah.
But the fact that your dad can be real with you on that,
Yeah.
like, props to your dad.
But-
Well, and I think too, if it's coming from your mom, like the mom is typically the one that's like, oh, you know, be more
can
vulnerable.
feel
Oh,
this.
yeah. And you're like,
You can
Mom,
feel
like,
that
you
way.
don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't get it, Mom. So I
Yeah.
think that's cool that you had that that active example in your
Yeah.
life.
But
Yeah.
even still, this is kind of a comment for you guys, I guess. So my dad is pretty emotionally available. He can be fairly vulnerable most of the time with his emotions. But when my dad was in high school, because he was vulnerable, he was seen as feminine or like, oh, like you're, you know, homosexual, blah, blah, blah. And even me in high school, like, because I wasn't like the tough guy, I mean, I'm just going to be blunt, like I'm black, you know, and I went to like a white private school. And so to be the black guy who's not, oh, I'm hard, I'm street, I'm this, I'm that, you know, kind of like confused people, you know what I mean? And everybody's like, yo, like, you know, is Tyson gay? Or, oh, like, or they're like, oh, Tyson's white. And like, and
Race
because I
is
have,
such a
and because, I mean, like right now I'm
different
wearing a
story.
cardigan, you know what I mean? And they're like, oh, like, it's Tyson, you know, he's always talking about his emotions, or he's always helping out females figure out their emotions, things like this. Like, is he gay? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, that's standard. And be honest with yourself. Like, when you see that with a guy on campus, do you think, oh, maybe he's gay? You know, he's got a lot of female friends. He talks about his emotions. Like, how do you, like,
Not at all.
like really look internally?
Not at all. And I
Okay.
think that goes to show, like, I mean, I'm not saying every man is homophobic, but I feel like there's a different perspective on the gay population from men.
Right.
And they just have a lack of understanding, and they think anything that's revolved around emotions is automatically gay. Like, that just goes to show how, like, little they know about
100%.
people who are gay. And that, like, literally no. I know so many guys who, not so many, but a handful of guys who are just like you, who are genuinely so kind to everyone and will sit down and talk out your problems, and I'll listen, and here's how I'll help.
Right.
And to hear you even ask that question kind of like made me mad, because like why would
you, Tysen.
why would the first thing in your brain be like, oh, I question his sexuality because of that? I don't know.
I
To
don't
me,
know.
that's wild. To me,
Yeah.
that's wild. But
Okay.
definitely no. Like,
Okay.
if I see someone like that, I appreciate a man like that. I want to marry a man like that. Literally, I want my husband to be willing to talk about and help anyone that they possibly can, because that's in their soul. Like, that's in their heart, and that's what they want to do, regardless of what anyone says. I think that's so toxic that someone could see that and immediately think, oh, he's gay. And in that term, you know that they're saying it as like
A negative
insult.
a
connotation.
negative thing.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, that's so gay.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
That is such
Exactly.
a problematic phrase. Like,
Yeah.
that really,
100%.
whenever I still hear people say that all the time, and it really makes me uncomfortable. Like, I have a lot of gay people in my life who I love dearly.
Yeah,
And if
yeah.
they were around to hear that hits them different. And I'm their friend. I'm
Yeah,
in my
100%.
family, so that hits me different too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and not to mention, those people are some of the most fun-loving, like, great, like, kind-hearted people you'll ever meet. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It like,
Why is
to
that a
have
negative
that's what I'm
thing?
saying. To have a negative connotation with that, like, it's just insane
It
to
hurts
me.
me,
And
yeah.
they're not willing to, like, step outside of themselves and go meet someone who's like that. I mean, like, even on campus, I have friends who are like homosexual, and they'll, Tysen, like, what's up? How you doing? Blah, blah. And they talk to me about anything I want to talk about, anything they want to talk about.
Yeah.
They'll talk about sports. They'll talk
Yeah.
about art. They'll talk about whatever.
They're people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not like,
Yeah.
oh, well, you're gay, so you don't like, like, no.
Yeah,
like,
every single person has different passions.
Exactly.
And they're not
Yeah.
gendered
Exactly. They're not
passions.
gendered
Why does their
passions.
sexuality have anything to do with their
Yeah.
personality?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
so, okay,
crazy.
that was just
Rachel,
that's-
I want to hear what you think.
Such
about
a good
this,
question,
Rachel.
though.
About what specifically?
About the question that Tysen just asked.
about like guys displaying emotion and that being associated with, like, being gay.
Yeah, I feel like those are the men that I feel are the strongest. You know what I mean? Because not only is it like I don't think it has to do with your sexuality, because it's about overcoming societal norms.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like that takes strength, that takes vulnerability, and vulnerability is so much harder than being closed off. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
And
so
just going with
it's
it,
just
yeah.
like you can't really blame it on like individuals. It is a societal thing. It's a psychological thing, like everyone is ingrained
Exactly.
to think like this because of how media portrays it, because of like everything you see. And like going back to what you were saying about like your dad raising you that way, that's
Right.
like that's so amazing. And like I so encourage parents to like raise kids like that. But parents can only do so much, like
Yeah.
you can't be sheltered from what everyone else is doing, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly.
That's
So
very
it's
true.
it's just so
So
hard.
yeah, to
Very
actively your presence, like your existence, actively dismantling what you've been told to
Yeah.
be is that is beyond strong, beyond comprehension for sure.
Yeah, that's the type of man I want to marry. Someone who's like
Amen,
strong,
brother.
Amen. Like,
I'll be honest with you. When you asked that question, you said be honest with yourself.
Right.
I definitely grew up in a very gendered environment. So I grew up
Same.
in a very, very sheltered. I loved where I grew up. I had a great education. I had a great childhood. But I definitely grew up in a place where it was just, boys acted like this and girls acted like this, and there was no in between. And then the people that fell in between that spectrum in high school were bullied or did not have friends or
Yeah.
were not a part of anything, and it was very visible and very sad. And I think I definitely understood it to a degree in high school, but I don't think I quite understood the why behind all of that until I got here and started taking classes that could actually help inform my education on that, because I was just didn't have. I mean, you're raised how you're raised, and so that's a big issue too.
Yeah.
Are you willing to to move on with your life and choose for yourself. I'm going to educate myself on this beyond what I've just been taught at home. Or am I just going to kind of go with it and say, like, well, because I was raised this way, I think this way too. Like, I think not everyone is willing to even like expand their mind, or they're afraid of maybe what they might realize is like they've lived a lie, or like I've definitely suffered and struggled with like being in college and being like, God, like, was everything that I grew up with, like, that I thought was a part of me, or I thought was like, I don't know, just a part of my life, like, is that actually what I believe, or like, well, what the fuck do I do now? Like, it was like a
what I've known my
huge
whole life.
identity crisis for a period of time. And then I got to the point where, I mean, I'm thinking to myself in high school, if someone were to act like that, I know that I would probably maybe think that way too, because I think I was surrounded by people that thought the same way, and I don't think I was a strong enough person in high school to have pushed back on that. I really don't. I think I was just trying to fit in and, you know, go with the norm. I think now, absolutely, I'd be like, no, fuck that. That's stupid as shit, because I'm older now and I have more knowledge under my belt. But like, that's a problem. It's a huge problem, and I don't know. That's honestly, I don't think I would have given as good of an answer and been like, no. I would have, like the way Elise said, like, fuck that. I would have been like, that's
sorry,
weird,
I hopped on that so quick. I was like, no,
hell no.
Which I think is great. I mean, you're very clearly confident in that answer. I don't think I could be as confident. In that
and
answer.
I appreciate you saying that, because like I said, like I wanted you guys to be honest with yourself, and I think that like an answer like Elise's is like a complete outlier. For like, I mean, maybe not now, you know, but I mean, in high school, hell, I was the person and I still didn't feel comfortable doing it. You know what I mean? So like, I can't necessarily say that I would have given an answer and been like, oh, you know, like, well, fuck that. That's stupid. Like, I'm going to do what I want. Because even in doing that, I was like, oh, no, like, I'm definitely different. I'm definitely outside of the norm. And like, am I comfortable with that? And I think part of that, like, part of the reason that I fell on sports so heavily was because I was like that, and I needed something to say, no, like, Tyson's like cool, Tyson's a guy, you know what I mean? Like you can't get more boyish in football, I mean, in high school than football, you know, or wrestling, something like that, you know what I mean? So like, those two sports are like what I fell heavily on, because, you know, if you're sharing your emotions all the time, then you have to go on the field and knock somebody out.
Redeem yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
and balance it out. I think masculinity versus femininity, that's a hard word to say, is such a interesting topic. Like, what makes someone masculine versus what makes someone feminine. And I believe everyone has a side of masculinity and femininity in them. 100%. But I feel like a lot of men are scared of that feminine part of them, which is the more emotional. Like, that's just our feminine nature. Like, that's part of being a woman, is like we literally have different hormones in our bodies that make us act different. But I also have a masculine side. Like, everyone has a masculine and feminine side, but I think a lot of men are scared of their feminine side. And I think
part of that fear comes from like the patriarchal way that our society runs. Like, the standards associated with masculinity, those are powerful.
Yes, that's,
you know,
why isn't femininity
being
powerful?
Logical, being strong, being smart, you know, those are the CEOs, you know, those are the guys that are successful. And so women, when they're successful, they have to take on these masculine in quotes like standards. And part of the reason why I think men are so scared of embracing femininity is because they're going down this, like, the scale.
They're going down the ladder. Yes, they're going down the totem
But you know what's
pole.
crazy? You know who has even more power than CEOs, male CEOs? Female superstars. Beyonce and her femininity and her sexuality is more powerful. I will debate anyone on this. Is more powerful than any male CEO in the world.
Oh, I agree 100%.
She has more power on people because of her feminine energy, and that's how I know feminine energy is more powerful. Not more powerful, but also powerful.
Equally powerful.
Yeah.
Feminism is equal. We're all I'm a feminist that believes that men and women should be equal in every aspect, and that's it. No one's better than the other. People are people.
But that's the thing. Femininity is powerful as fuck. Look at Beyonce. Like, look at these artists like Doja Cat. Look at Lizzo. Like, their feminine divinity is reaches so
I
many
know,
people.
divinity, right? Goddamn. Yeah,
No, I love being a woman. I think about it all
Yeah.
the time. I love being feminine. And honestly, like it must be really hard for trans people to feel this like barrier in them, like they should be feminine, more feminine, and they love that feminine side to them or that masculine, but they physically aren't that. Like that
Yeah.
to me, I knew I was born to be a woman, but that to me must be really hard. I don't know what that must feel
Right.
like, but I've always loved being a woman. I love being a girl. Now I love being a woman. I love my feminine side. I love, like part of feminine energy is like sexuality, sex. But like, you know what I mean? Like a
Right.
part of the feminine power is sex.
Okay,
Yeah.
I agree with that, but I also have a question.
Okay.
So I feel like we, this is hard. So part of the feminine power is our sexuality and being able to embrace our sexuality. But a lot of the times, females are asking not to be sexually objectified, right? So how do we view that? So like when we're out like that and we're freeing the nip and we're doing all these things, which A-okay with, do your thing, girl. But then you're asked, I don't want to be sexually objectified. What do we say to
have an
that?
answer.
I'm ready. Your hand.
Okay, you go first.
The only reason we're sexually objectified is because males have taken our sexual premise and changed it for something for them. So when I'm freeing the nip, I'm freeing it because I want to free the nip, not for males' attention, if that makes sense. So being objectified, no one wants to be sexually objectified because a male sexually objectifies a woman. A male decides when it's too much for a woman or when she's too naked. Or, like that, that's the part that
And when that's
doesn't-
appropriate.
Yeah, when that's
your eyes
appropriate.
are getting small. I would like to hear what you have to say.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I can agree with that from your perspective, but I've got to argue that there are some people, even on campus, who wear nothing to frats and stuff because they're looking for a male's attention. And I feel like, I'm not saying that it's right to objectify women like that at all.
Obviously.
But I feel like there are women maybe who only feel comfortable with themselves when they're objectified, when they feel like they're worth something to a man. And I think that in itself is a huge problem. I know a lot of people who will say, oh, well, how come she can wear this and that with, her boobs out and this and that, and every guy just wants to come look at her and touch her. But then when I go out and I don't wear that, then I sit in the corner by myself, And I think that some girls, not all girls obviously, but some girls like that attention because they feel like they are worth something when someone wants them.
I agree with
I feel
that.
like that's a problem. Like I see what you're saying about, freeing the nips for yourself, but I can't say that everybody frees the nips for themselves.
I agree. I think
I
some
totally
women get
agree
it
with
twisted.
that.
Some women, and that's feeding into toxic masculinity. Is like
100%.
when they're dressing, and maybe they don't know it. Maybe they're just dressing because they feel good, they feel empowered, they feel sexy. That's awesome. But at the end of the day, if you are just doing that and you don't actually want to wear that, but you're just doing that to feel like accomplished or feel, I guess, not accomplished because you can feel accomplished in your body, obviously, but feel the need for attention from men.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a line.
And I
get
feel
that.
like desirability for women, that's like part of the beauty standard is like you not only do you want to like look beautiful to other women, but you want to look beautiful to men.
Yeah.
You want to be
Right.
desirable to men.
From men, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so that's-
interesting.
Well, and that's an interesting line too that we have to just pay attention to. It's just something that we need to bracket because it's like, yes, there are the women that are truly and 100% through and through doing all of that for themselves and themselves only. And then you have the women who are doing on the opposite end of the spectrum, only doing it for other people. But then you have the women who are kind of confused, who are like, am I doing this because, like, I feel like I should be doing this because I want to feel empowerment in myself, but there's also a little part of me that wants to get attention as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard because you can't, like, you don't know the motives fully of someone who is
Right.
doing
You
those
can't tell,
things.
right.
Yeah.
So,
But also, is it wrong
know.
to want attention?
That's what I was gonna say.
That's
don't
another
know.
debate.
There's not like, but whether we want to admit it or not, everybody wants attention.
Yes.
You know what
Right,
I mean?
right.
You,
Whether
you
they
don't
wanna-
go to a frat party in sweatpants and a beater. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you go out and you dress up, and
Right.
you could say, oh, I'm dressing for myself. I'm dressing to look good and feel comfortable with myself.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like most women are doing it because that is the standard, and if you're not keeping up with that standard, you will not get attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you can say, I don't care about that, but if 5 of your sorority sisters are wearing crop tops and tube tops, and you walk in there in a turtleneck, like it doesn't match. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're keeping up. Really.
I don't think it's bad to want attention. I think
so.
there's a extent where it can overcome your thoughts to a point where it's toxic, but I think wanting attention is part of like everyone. So it's like hypocritical to say.
We're social creatures.
Right.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
That's part of the human nature. We want, like, why do we even have partners? Why do we get married? Because we want that connection with someone, and that stems from getting attention from them at first. Like, that's just how it works.
Yeah.
Well, and so I think the root problem is not that we want attention in of itself, but that the fact that we want attention is like a villain thing that makes us like villainizes us almost. That like we're human. Just accept the fact that you're doing this because you want attention, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But like, don't say that like, oh no, I'm not really doing it. Like just be straight
Be
up.
aware of what you're doing.
Be aware
And
of what you're
also,
doing. Exactly.
Women, stop hating other women because they quote unquote want too much attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want attention too, bitch.
Yes.
Like, don't
That's
be
why
hypocritical.
you complain
about
about it. You don't complain. Like, they literally complain
They're
about
jealous.
these girls.
They want more.
Exactly.
They want that attention for
This
themselves.
girl gets all this attention. All she does is want attention, but you're complaining because you want that attention. Like, you can't. There's no double standard in that. Like,
absolutely.
You absolutely have to just.
And I
accept
think
it.
the girls that are willing to be like, damn, go look at that girl. She good for her.
Exactly.
The whole empowered woman empowered women empower
Empower
women.
women.
That's because the woman herself isn't jealous of the fact that that girl over there is getting attention because she feels secure enough in her own skin that she doesn't feel like she needs to compete with her. That she's getting enough of what she needs from the love of herself, from the love of the people in her life, that she doesn't need to be
Compete,
like.
yeah.
And that's where they're like, then look at her. It's just jealousy.
Yeah.
And that's also human nature. It
And
doesn't mean that those girls are bad or evil. It just means that they have their own things to kind of sort out.
And as
just
seen-
like in men too.
As seniors in college, there's a clear divide. I mean, I'm sure there's like divides in your grades as well. They're a little bit younger than us, but for us, it's like half and half. Like, there's half women who know who the fuck they are and they support other women, and then there's other half who are, I swear, still stuck in 7th grade. Like, we were literally discussing, I'm not gonna name any names, but there are literally people who are still as petty as they were in 7th grade.
Yeah.
And it worries me. I'm like, have you not grown at all? Like, in the past 4 years at DePaul, especially in college, like, what in your mindset tells you that you have to hate other women who are succeeding?
Yeah.
Why do you feel the need to like put other women down for their successes?
Yeah.
Like, what is driving that in you?
I'm
Feel
not-
good for those women. They're doing it. It's
Well,
hard being a woman.
It's just it's not I don't think it's because they're mean, evil, malicious people. I just think they're just lacking something in their lives that they haven't gotten yet, and they, like I said, they need to figure that out for themselves. So we have to just have to approach it with empathy, which is hard to do when someone's being a bitch. But like, that's the best way to go about it. So
Whew, what an episode. This was really good. Like, quality stuff. Honestly, we tapped into things I did not even write down. Like, I didn't even think we'd tap into. Because we had makeup and beauty standards that we were definitely going to talk about, but it just went a really good route. We talked about toxic masculinity. We talked about woman needing attention, femininity, masculinity, like so many
Femininity.
things. That's hard to say.
femininity. It
Femininity.
reminds me of like the semen. Yeah, anemone.
From Finding Nemo.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't watched a Disney movie in so long. I want to sit down and watch a Disney movie. Anyway, thank you so much both for coming on, Rachel
That
and
was a
Tyson.
great
Thanks for having me.
conversation.
You guys just have brought really good perspective, like
Wisdom.
real perspective, especially from you, Tyson. Thank you for
course,
being so.
always.
Yeah. And that's what
Open.
I'm saying too. And I say this every episode. We have people from all ages, and these guys are younger than us.
Mm-hmm.
And they're in their, we're all in our early 20s, but like they are just
Early 20s.
Early
Yeah.
20s.
Yeah.
And that just goes to show that like the whole like, oh, I'm older than you, I'm wiser than you, that's some bullshit. People have different life experiences. That's why we bring people on from all ages,
Yeah.
because people are in different areas of their life.
Right.
you do not have to be older to be wiser.
Right.
So if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't think I have anything important to say, you're probably wrong.
Yeah,
So that's
we want
just a
you on
subtle
here.
plug.
Yeah. Also, this is your 20s, but like we're not gonna have guests all the time who are in their 20s because we also want advice from people in their 30s, 40s, 50s. You know, 60s. Like I want to hear their stories too. So get ready for that for season 2 upcoming episodes.
We need some caffeine.
I know. All right. Again, thank you so much for listening. Follow us on
Yes,
Instagram.
thank
This
you.
is your .20s. Follow us on Twitter. This is your _20s. Email us. This is your 20s @gmail.com.
Oh, also, what are your guys' Instagrams, social media? If y'all want some
plug them.
plug yourself.
At Rachael.Hinshaw.
Okay.
Nice. I'll put that in the thing.
Okay.
Ty_Lamar with 2 Y's and 2 R's.
Got it.
it.
Got it. Yeah, go follow them. They're awesome people. They're going to do big things in life, like cure cancer. Rachel wants to cure
Yeah, I'm
cancer.
gonna cure cancer, everyone.
Tyson, what do you
Look
want
out
to
for
do?
my name.
Yeah, what's your dream?
My major is psychology. I'm thinking sports psychology, but honestly, I was considering like counseling. I considered teen counseling, marriage counseling, different things like that. So I'm kind of still up in the air about the route I want to
You'd
take.
be good at that.
You would
Tyson's
be
easy
really,
to talk to.
Really
Thank
good
you, I
at that.
appreciate
You have a
Yeah.
very soothing presence for sure.
Yeah, honestly. You guys both do. You guys are both amazing people. I love you.
Jeez.
All right, we're going to wrap it up. You ready?
Yes.
All right, you may not have your shit figured out.
But that's okay.
This is your 20s. See you next week.